Pop Culture, your one-stop destination for everything pop culture. My name is Ashton, and today we're going to do a review and a recap for Luke Cage Season 1, Episode 2. So in this episode, we see the hunt is on for Chico. Everybody's looking for Chico, the police, Pops, Luke Cage, Cottonmouth. Everybody's looking for Chico. The hunt is on. We see with the detective, we see she's actually going onto the streets. We see that she went to the basketball courts. We know Chico's kind of like a basketball legend for the area. And we see when they go to the court, like everybody, we see they're trying to follow the street code. Like, look, no snitching. Nobody knows nothing. Nobody knows who he is. Even though like his initials on the court, everybody knows who the legends are. And we see she's a kind of a baller, because her initials are also on the court. We see that she goes for she plays horse with the younglings, and we don't really know if she wins or not, but we assume she wins because we see she's making shots left and right, doing everything she can to make these shots. So she's good with that. But moving on to other people, like who do I want to say? And so we see she's on the hunt for him. And we see later on the episode, she actually can't really believe what's going on with Luke Cage, because she knows the whole barbershop just got shot up, and like the whole barbershop just got shot up. Luke Cage got bullet holes in his shirt, but he's perfectly fine. So she's trying to rationalize that, trying to figure out what's going on. At the same time, being upset, she doesn't have any eyewitnesses on the shooters or have any evidence against Cottonmouth. You know, Cottonmouth was at the VIP club. You know how he sits in his little lounge above the bar and everything the whole night. So he's basically seen at the club the whole night, but there's no way for him to be attached to this murder. Now getting back to other characters, we see Pop we get a little bit of Pop's backstory of why he's so respected around the town. We find out how he got his name, kind of like Snap Crackle Pop, for him punching people. We see, who else did we get? What else did we get? We get to find out that Cottonmouth is kind of his youngling. Even Chico's dad was like one of his younglings also. So he kind of raised Cottonmouth and everything. So Cottonmouth have a respect for Pops that we really didn't know. Even though like last episode he wasn't really disrespecting him. He even kind of let Luke Cage get away with the shit. This episode that actually might have been this episode. Like I'm doing everything back to back, so I might blur episodes together a little bit. But we see when he went in for the shave and everything. It was this episode. He went in for the shave, and he was about to walk out without paying. But when Luke Cage stepped up, he kind of like, okay, you're right. Let me pay him. He had Tone pay him, even though Tone was real disrespectful with it. But Tone paid him. I'm still suspicious. I'm still confused how Shays did not recognize Luke Cage. We know Luke recognized him because it was a very traumatic thing. But was Shays just there, not really involved with the conspiracy, or was he involved with the conspiracy? Because I'm confused. If he's involved with the conspiracy, how many people did he set up to be experimented on? It's not like he was like, oh, I'm going to do this one person. And if it was just that one person, he's definitely going to recognize it, because I'm pretty sure he got paid to do it. So it just confused it's confusing how Shays doesn't really recognize his history with Luke Cage. Even though it seems like Luke Cage is everywhere. Like the funniest joke from this episode, like once everybody realized like, oh, Luke Cage works at the club and he works here. Like, oh, Luke got more jobs than Jamaican. It's pretty, like, if you don't really know anything about like Jamaican stereotypes, it wouldn't really be funny to you, but it's pretty funny, because they say Jamaicans always got like 5 or 6 jobs. So that was pretty funny when they said that. Now, going into it, we see Luke Cage is actually sent out by Pops to go find Chico, because like Luke Cage has a history. We see Pops actually knows that Luke Cage is a fugitive. He when he married they didn't really say what she was, but he was married to someone who was like obviously personal to Pops. He looked the other way, like even though he was a felon, even though he was a fugitive and he came back without her, he looked the other way. He gave him a job. He paid him under the table. he did all this stuff for Luke Cage, and when Luke Cage came home, basically told him like, look, I owe you if you do this for me. He don't know everything about Luke Cage, because we see like when he's asking Luke Cage like, where are you from? Luke Cage says Chicago. Obviously, he knows he's not from Chicago. He's definitely not a Midwest boy. He says he's actually from Savannah. He believes the Savannah story. I can see him being from Savannah. He doesn't. I can see it, but I don't really see it. He gives me more of a New York vibe. He's not really Savannah to me. I know people from Savannah. He doesn't give me that Savannah feel at all. He doesn't give me that Georgia feel at all. He gives me more like an East Coast type vibe. So I don't really personally believe that he's from Savannah, but for the story purposes, Pops actually believed him once he said Savannah. And he was telling him, look, the way you guys do stuff in Savannah is way different than we do things over here. Like, it's kind of like Switzerland. Those are the exact words. The barbershop is Switzerland. There is no street drama inside the barbershop. That barbershop is neutral. For all means, that barbershop, everybody can come. They can set meets up in there, which we seen they actually did set the meet up, and Cottonmouth actually agreed to it. Look, I'll swing through tomorrow at such and such time. He didn't give him a really exact time, but he said I'll swing through tomorrow at the same time I came through last time, which is very respectful. We see he still has that respect for Pops. He still has that respect for the barbershop. Like, look, I show up at this time. And we see when the cops showed up to the barbershop, they gave respect. We see Pops the detective. I can't remember her name for the life of me, but Pops knew the detective. He knew, he was just telling, like, he knew everybody. So we see Pops is really, like, in key with this city, with this type of environment, with the street level, citizen level. He's connected in all aspects of this. And we not only do we know it because all the children, like, he knows all the, I don't want to say children because they're not children anymore, they're all grown adults, but he knows the adults that are kind of, I want to say like the mid-20 adults. He knows all the adults, and even knows people older than them. So he's just well respected because of his history in the streets. And like I said, last episode he's talking about how he actually got the kids on his side by having all the latest video games, letting them come through and just hang out, do little errands for him to make money off of them. So yeah, we see she's talking to him about how she chose certain college over other colleges. And so we see that he's really in depth with these kids as they're growing up. He even knows about their college choices and what schools they turned down. So Pops is a real big staple in this neighborhood. I'm glad to see it. They showing aspects of that type of community, going on. Now back to Luke Cage. We see Luke Cage kind of gets upset. We get to see that he's pacing around the barbershop. I was wondering why he's pacing around like that, but we see him in his head counting how many people there is, how many guns there are. He even lets Pops know, like, look, I got the clean towels, and I can get rid of the dirty towels if you want me to, which was kind of a code. Basically, I can take them all out right now if you want me to. And Pops like, nah, play it cool. I got this. I can handle this. I love how they brought up the razor. How Cottonmouth was talking about the razor because, it is true. I don't know how it is in like other cultures, but like in the black barbershops, when you get the razor lineup, the razor shave. I don't really get razor shaves. I break out too bad, but I get the razor lineups. I make sure my line is clean with the razor, lasts longer, more precise, and everything looks much cleaner. And he's about like that's really true. Like I don't know if it's just like depending on where you're from. I know definitely in New York the razor lineups is a must-have. If you're not having a razor lineup, I don't know what you're doing. I don't know how. It's kind of like, even in like Ohio. I've had cuts in Ohio. I'm out here in Arizona, so the razors are real serious within like the barbershop culture. And I love how you're just talking about like young boys. They don't really care about the razor lineups no more. They don't really got time. They rather just come with the clippers. Even though I do the clippers, that's because, like I said, I break out way too bad if I use the razor on my actual face. And we see he's talking about they don't want to put the time in, whatever, and really earn it. And at the same time, we see Pops is checking him out. We see Pops look at his hands. He sees the real deep cuts, and he automatically knows like, oh, he killed Young Boy. Like Young Boy he did this personally. He actually killed him. So we see Pops really don't like it. We see Pops actually trying to like hold back his emotions about how he's feeling about this situation, which is good. I'm glad he was able to keep his composure, do what he needed to do so that he can make it out of this situation. Now, with that being said, once he was up out of there, he talked to like Luke Cage, like, look, you owe me, so I need you to go out there and find him. And Luke Cage, basically, after a couple hours, he ended up tracing down Chico, and he tells him, look, you need to come with me because I went out for 4 hours and didn't pay anybody off to find you. If I can find you in 4 hours, there's no telling if other people know where you are or are close behind me to finding you. So he gets Chico to actually come. He doesn't really get Chico at that moment to come back with him, but later on when they're in the barbershop, we see Chico just randomly shows up. And we see Pops gangster come out a little bit, pins him up against the wall, tell him like, look, stay here, don't do nothing else. He questions him like, why would you go out and do this? It's crazy to me that he would go out and do this. And we see he feels the same way. He's real emotional. We see he actually Pops actually sends Luke Cage back to the bar. Like I can't leave. I'm being looked like the cops are all around here looking at me. Everybody's looking. So if I go to the bar, it's gonna be kind of suspicious because I had no business there. So if you go there, everything would get worked out. Now you can go leave a message to him. We see Luke Cage walks in. His boss is trying to talk to him. He straight ignores his boss, which is understandable. His boss been trying to play him for too long, right? Yeah, and we see him doing that. He goes and talk to Cottonmouth. He gets frisked, nothing on him, and he talks to Cottonmouth. And Cottonmouth agrees to the meeting, like I said earlier. Now, going on from that, at the same time he's getting this message, we seen Turk actually walk into the back room and seen Chico. So Turk lets Tone know, hey, this is where Chico is. I seen him there. And when Chico and Shades actually pull up, the whole time Shades is like, we should only get him if he's outside. Because Cottonmouth had already said, if you see him slipping, take the shot. If he's not moving, if he's just sitting still, not moving around, let him be, because he knew it was gonna be solved in the morning. And Tone doesn't really get the message. Tone basically goes in, guns a-blazing. He runs in, everything gets it, chitty chitty bang bang. I mean, nothing's off limits. If Luke Cage wouldn't have covered the little boy would have been gone. So yeah, Tone basically was acting wild with it. Tone put the memo out, put the bird out in the air about if they find Chico, he'll pay him, I think it was $20,000. So Tone put that filler out there, and we see once he goes back to report to Cottonmouth, that it doesn't really go well. We see the whole time Shades is like, look, I told him we should wait. I told him we should wait. So once all the information comes out, we see Cottonmouth actually get super upset. When he's talking to his cousin, we see, like, we were talking about it earlier, like, it doesn't really matter what you do for money as long as you get you get money or whatever. And he told her she would understand when it was time. So she basically said, like, yeah, I'm okay with extortion. I'm okay with all the other crimes being broke. I'm just not okay with murder. Don't ask me to be okay with murder. I respect that. I understand it. Got morals, like got a code. I'll break all these crimes, but I can't really get jiggy with the murders. I understand that. I respect it. Like, you don't stand for something, you'll fall for anything. So I'm glad she got a little code, even though technically she's allowing murder, she just won't do murder herself. So yeah, kind of a little tricky situation. Another thing is the detective and Luke Cage actually ran into each other again. So we see he actually kind of brings it up. We see him Pops earlier acting like, oh, you came in with a little pep in your step. You must have got some, or you must have been out crime fighting. Which we know he did go crime fighting in the previous episode. And he kind of like talks to Pops about it like, yeah, it was actually 4 people, not 2. So a nice little one. We see he actually kind of like agrees that he did get some also. So that's 2 things that make him happy today. And Pops catches on to that when the detective was talking to Luke Cage, he's like, "Oh, I see you found something to be like a better outfit to do accounting in," and Pops basically just connected two and two together. That that's the girl he smashed the other day. Nothing wrong with that. Like, it was a pretty funny episode. Like, yeah. But it's just crazy that Pops left so soon. I didn't think Pops would die so soon. I thought it would have been like mid-season when they revealed the real big baddie, but it wasn't. It was sooner than I thought. Now, besides that, we get to see that everything is like, what am I gonna say? Besides that, I'm glad to see that we already knew that's probably gonna be the reason Luke Cage stepped up to be the real hero that he could be, and he even besides that, Pops has been telling him like every episode, like, you need to be out there fighting crime, helping people, such and such. But Luke Cage wasn't really for it. He's a fugitive, so he's trying to play real low key. But I'm confused, like, how this really gonna work out. We see he's pulled into the limelight. We see the detectives is all on him. He's kind of like a witness for this murder, this triple homicide that just went down, and everything. And I'm glad to see that when the gunfire started to happen, that Luke Cage actually, instead of going for Pops, which I thought was kind of due just for a personal reason, like, oh, we know he has that personal bond with Pops, he went towards the young man to make sure the little kid survived. Now, at the same time, why the hell was Pops, when shooting was going on, why the hell was Pops just standing up straight up? Everybody knows when you start shooting, get down to the ground, get low. Now, we see Chico get wet up. He falls in the middle of the barbershop. They come and grab the backpack, and they out. Now, at the same time, the cameras caught the Escalade coming in. Obviously, they must not got plates. But when they got there, we see they followed the Escalade down. I forget what they said to. The Escalade was on fire, so they couldn't really get any evidence from it. And that's really all we had from this episode. Another thing, we see Luke Cage was at his cousin's, at Cottonmouth's cousin's little event center or whatever it's supposed to be. She ended up getting all her money from Cottonmouth because we see he found the second bag. And Luke Cage is outside, he's real stressed out. I'm assuming that's where he's going next episode. He's actually going to go inside the building next episode. And we see the young man calls him a nigga again. Like I said, we've heard, it's like the first Marvel show that ever said nigga. And it's pretty fluid, like, it doesn't really issue. But this time they're kind of like, not boycotting it, but just going against it. Like, look, he's like, I'm not a nigga. How dare you call me a nigga in front of this building who's named after the first free African American and all these different things. So they give like a little history lesson about being black and everything. No problem with that. I don't have an issue with that. This is a really pretty pro-black episode. Well, episode, but series. These first two episodes are really pro-black. We see the majority of the cast, and just the vibe from it is very urban and everything. So I don't really mind them putting messages within the TV shows. I actually respect it for the most part because Marvel doesn't have to do that. Marvel's to a point where they don't have to step into political issues. Even though we know Marvel and hip hop is really close. If you don't believe me, you can go see this. Like Marvel does variant of hip hop covers every year. Every year they'll do couple like old school, new school covers, and they'll mix in superheroes into these classic hip hop covers. So like the Chronic album, Dr. Dre's Chronic album, we see Doctor Strange on it. We seen for Nas's Godson album, they put Miles Morales. So this is really normal for them to do things like this. I'm glad to see they're tying in hip hop and black culture, pro-blackness and everything all in with this. I respect it to the fullest. Now, my favorite part of this episode, like my ups for this episode, would still be how it feels natural and everything. Oh, and I love how they brought Faith Evans in. We know, if you don't know, Faith Evans is kind of Biggie Smalls, Notorious B.I.G.'s. I don't know if I can't remember if they was married or not, but she's definitely like the mother of his child. We definitely see Notorious B.I.G. in this show multiple times. If you don't know who that is, that's the big poster we see, Biggie Smalls with the crown on him. We've seen him for the first. That poster we've seen the last 2 episodes. So it's only right to put Faith Evans in here. We see she's a singer. So I'm glad they're bringing more hip hop to the show. Now, that's really all I got for this episode. Thank you guys for tuning in. My Power Man move of the week, where I had to go to Cottonmouth again. My boy got it back to back. He went from 0 to 100 real quick. We see when he found out Pops was dead, it actually affected him real much. I mean, really deep. We see he actually sheds tears for Pops. Now, I'm not giving him the Power Man move of the week for that. I'm giving the Power Man move because when he grabbed Tone, just threw him off the roof and told Turk, like, look, you want your money, go get your money off of him. Straight up. He's down there, go search the pockets. Now, at the same time, we see Turk actually use that Easter egg for Hell's Kitchen. They're tying in Daredevil now, and I'm glad to see that. Like, I'm glad they're trying to, they're pulling the strings tighter for the whole cinematic universe. Now, besides that, that's really all I have. Thank you guys for tuning in. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe. If you think I missed something, you don't agree with something I said. Also, make sure you follow us on Instagram at lost_culture. Follow us on Twitter at lost_cult-TV. And follow me on Instagram at Saint_Aston. And as always, stay lost. I've seen Luke Cage in the Jessica Jones series, but my name's Aston. Today we're going to do a review and a recap for Empire Season 3, Episode